What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Battlefield 2042 video. Now, there's a couple things I want to go over for today's video. There's a couple tweets to go over and stuff, and I want to give you guys my opinion on that. And then I want to talk about the future of the game and what I think EA and DICE need to do to make this game have a comeback story. I think if 2042 is going to have a future and if players are going to come back to the game, there's a lot of things that need to be changed going forward. So the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that DICE is officially back in the office. Their holiday break is now over. They are all back in the office. They are working on the next update coming to Battlefield 2042. As you can see here by the community manager Kevin Johnson, he tweeted out that they're back at it. I hope you all had a lovely holiday spent with family and friends. Things may be slow as folks are just returning, but know that your feedback has still been heard loud and clear over the holidays. We'll always champion your feedback. Which, of course, he's obviously getting a little bit of backlash for that tweet because, you know, he says that they listen to the feedback when obviously they don't listen to the feedback. If they did listen to player feedback, the game wouldn't even be in this state to begin with. Like, if they listened to player feedback, there wouldn't be specialists, there would be more destruction, there would be a scoreboard. They've had years and years and years of feedback from across all these Battlefield games. They know what players like and dislike when it comes to Battlefield. They've had plenty of time and opportunities to listen to player feedback. They just choose not to. The only feedback that they're listening to is microtransactions and what the current trends are with microtransactions and live service bullcrap. They're not listening to player feedback, that's for damn sure. Yeah, the only feedback they listen to is how much money people are willing to spend on freaking cosmetic skins and stuff. But all that aside, you know, DICE is back in the office now. Hopefully we get some updates here in the near future. And then the second thing I wanted to talk about briefly was this deleted tweet by one of the developers. Somebody screenshotted it and put it on Reddit. So that's where this is coming from. I tried to find it on his Twitter and it's obviously no longer there. It says, someone asked, how do you as a dev feel seeing the numbers on Steam? And then he said, I mean, what do you think, how I feel? I gave my best and pushed as hard as I could. If I could physically do more, I would. Even when you give your best, nobody guarantees anything. Life is tough. So that was immediately deleted, probably for a number of different reasons. He probably realized that that wasn't smart to tweet to begin with. That, or he probably got in trouble. One of his bosses at either EA or DICE or somebody probably told him to delete it. That's always a big no-no when it comes to game development. When like a game is currently active and it's being like sold as a live service, it's never a good idea when developers, you know, tweet their actual feelings, especially if the game's in a rough spot, because it looks bad on the game. So normally they tell the developers to shut up, don't say anything. I've seen this time and time again. Like, as soon as a live service ends, developers, you know, start speaking their mind. They start saying things about the game. It happened with Battlefront 2 when Battlefront 2 ended their live service approach and they stopped support for the game. A lot of the developers were talking about the behind the scenes, you know, planned content that never come out, and they were actually voicing their opinions after the game stopped getting support because, you know, they can't get fired anymore after that. So based off of that tweet, you can tell he isn't too happy with the state of the game, and, you know, like he said, life's tough. He says that he worked really hard on it and, you know, people aren't liking it. I would imagine that's probably how a lot of the developers feel. You know, like the game or hate the game, people did have to make it, and a lot of these devs probably thought that this game was good, like when they were making it, and a lot of these developers, you know, put a lot of their hard work and effort into making this game. You know, it just, because of the higher ups and because EA's scummy and probably rushed it out to get done before the holidays, and whoever the higher ups are in charge of 2042, I mainly blame them instead of the individual developers. Either way, this whole game's a mess, and, you know, the fact that this dev tweeted that out shows you sort of a glimpse of like the behind the scenes. You can tell the developers obviously aren't happy, and, you know, they obviously read the subreddit and stuff and they're seeing all the hate every single day. Like, I'd be very demotivated if I was working at my job and then I could just go home and read Reddit and then see reviews of everything I was doing at work. Like, if I worked 8 hours a day, come home, and then I see on the internet that people are just trashing everything that I did at my job, it would make me feel like, you know, why go back to work, or why try harder, why try to improve things if everything I do 2042, everybody hates. That's just the state of the game. Players are mad because, we all spent 60, 70 to $100+ on this game, and we got a broken disaster, and, player bases leaving. We got a bunch of broken promises, and we were basically lied to. So people aren't happy, and you can tell that it's getting to the developers. Which leads us into what I think DICE needs to do going forward for Battlefield 2042. Now that the developers are back in the office, and I've had experience playing DICE games in the past. I've played a lot of Battlefields. I played Star Wars Battlefront. Based off of DICE's communication with their community, it's always been piss poor. And in my opinion, I think if they want to save Battlefield 2042, this is what they need to do. Especially if the rumors are true and we're not going to get Season 1 until March, then they should spend all of January and all of February adding things back to the game that people want. Like if March is going to be the big content update where we get new specialists, we get new maps and stuff and new weapons, then January and February need to be dedicated to bug fixes and adding back these quote-unquote legacy features. So spend February giving us back scoreboards, team play, a way to track our stats better. Like right now there's kind of no incentive to do well because there's no way to see your stats. Like I don't know what my kill death ratio is because there's no way to tell me what it is. A lot of these basic features that have been stripped from Battlefield. I mean, go look at the Battlefield subreddit for like 5 minutes. You'll see just how many things have been taken out of Battlefield. The list is so long. So they definitely need to spend the next 2 months giving us back a lot of features that they took out of the game. And then within the next couple weeks, now that DICE is back in the studio, I would say within the next week or two, we need some sort of communication of a roadmap. Like they need to have a timeline. They need to say, this is when we plan to have this update. This is when we plan to have like the DLC. This is when we're going to have a map. We plan to have this many weapons. We plan to add this many specialists. As of right now, we have no clue what the plans are for DLC. Those people that spent upwards of $100 for like the whole bundle where you get multiple season passes and stuff, the only thing we know that we're going to get is like additional specialists and some cosmetics. That's it. We don't know how many maps they're planning on adding. We don't know if they're going to add any new game modes. We have no clue what their goal is for 2042. And you can't expect players to stick around with a game that they don't like. You can't expect them to stick around when you don't even have a roadmap laid out for the future of the game. And you're definitely not going to get any new players coming to the game if there's no roadmap. So first and foremost, they have to have a roadmap. So they need a roadmap, they need to add legacy features back, and then when we finally get DLC content, I think they need to rethink their DLC. Like if they plan on adding maps, the maps need to be significantly smaller. If they release a new map and it's still absolutely ginormous and it's full of just open fields, why on earth would anyone come back and play the game after that? Like if they release a big open map, that proves that they do not listen to feedback. So they obviously need a lot smaller map. They need to add a lot of game modes that people want, like Team Deathmatch and Rush, and a lot of these smaller game modes that people have been asking for. They need to add XP back to Portal, because as of right now, Portal's basically dead because no one plays Portal because there's no progression in it. You get no XP, you can't level up any of your characters, you can't level up any of the weapons, none of the weapons have attachments, which leads me into my next point. They need to have way more weapons. When they start Season 1 here in like February or March or whenever it is, they need to have like a minimum of 5 weapons, and realistically they should have at least 10 plus weapons, but I'm lowballing it. Realistically, I'm saying a minimum of 5. Knowing DICE, they'll probably add like 1 or 2 new weapons and call it a day. That's why I'm saying a minimum of 5. But hopefully they add more than that. But let's be real here, they're probably not going to. Even if they took a lot of the weapons from Portal from like different eras like Battlefield 2 and Battlefield 3 and brought them over to 2042 and just, tweaked them a little bit, that would satisfy so many people. And then if they really wanted to make people happy, they would just completely scrap the idea of specialists completely. Just get rid of them. There are so many people that hate the specialists. I would just get rid of them completely. It wouldn't be that big of a change. Just delete specialists and then just add regular classes. That would probably screw up their microtransactions, but heaven forbid we screw that up. And if they want to keep the specialists, then my vote is to break them up into different categories. Put them into different groups, like McKay could be an assault variant, or Boris could be for support, and obviously Casper could be in recon, and then you'd have a medic category. You know, put them into categories. That way, instead of every single specialist being able to run around with a rocket launcher or an anti-air gun, that in itself hurts the vehicle gameplay in this game. I swear every time I get into a helicopter, I'm instantly shot out of the sky because everyone has anti-air rockets. Same goes for if I have a tank. I feel like I have to camp with a tank because everyone has a rocket launcher. If they split up the specialists for DLC, or, you know, just made a quality of life change where not every single specialist could carry a rocket launcher, I feel like that would improve the vehicle gameplay a lot more. I would maybe get rid of the specialist abilities. I would make it so instead of each specialist has their own unique individual ability, I would make it so all the specialists can choose between the abilities. So for example, you know, if they're broken up into categories and McKay and Sundance are both assault classes, maybe Sundance could use a grapple hook. Or if you wanted to change your loadout for McKay, maybe McKay could switch with Sundance and he could use the wingsuit. You know, do different things like that instead of having each individual specialist be their own thing. That would at least give people, you know, a little bit more reason to customize the characters. I'm just like throwing out general ideas here. I don't know how they're going to fix the specialist or how they're going to make the community accept the specialist, but I do know at bare minimum they need to add those legacy features back or they're not going to get the player base back. If they don't add basic things to this game, like destruction, a scoreboard, you know, things that people have been asking for since the beta, if they don't add those back, this game will never make a comeback. It's as simple as that. But those are my thoughts and opinions. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. If you guys have any ideas as to what they could do to save this game, let me know down below. If you guys are new here, hit that subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up. If you guys want to follow me on Twitch, I stream pretty often at SwanyPlaysGames Live, so be sure to follow me over there. And that is going to do it for this video, guys, and I will talk to you all next time.